This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, get ready, we're going to Hawaii. We're going to see the islands and the water. Today we're talking about a volcano that's erupting on the island, Haleakala. This is a two-player game from Z-Man Games. It's about 30 minutes. It's sort of an abstracted game where you're trying to build statues and burn down your opponent's statues. Let me show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. In Haleakala, you are a shaman and you're moving around to different spots, from the beach to the grass to the forest to the mountains around this big volcano. There's two of you that start on the opposite sides of the boards, and you're going to be placing statues at different spots to try to get points. You'll be grabbing some cards with some fishing boats, grabbing some seashells to use as currency to buy specific scoring cards. Each player will get some statues and discs numbered 1 through 5 in their color. The two colors are red or yellow. A turn's very simple. One of the things you can do is you can place one of your discs on a beach. If you place it and it's not on the beach as this boat here, essentially you can move your shaman up to 2 spots. Now when you move a spot, you can only move uphill as much once, and everything up here is uphill. This is uphill from here, this is uphill from here, this is uphill from here, because it's a big volcano. So I can move up to 2. I could go 1, 2, or I could go 1, 2. So in this case, I'll just go 1, 2. Now next time I play a disc, I might go 1, 2, for example. But let's just keep my guy there. Then it'll be the next player's turn. Let's say maybe he throws, a 1 disc there, and he moves his guy. Now, it's my turn again. Now let's say I drop this disc here. If I put a disc where the boat is, I will move that boat clockwise the amount that that disc says. So that says 1. I'm going to move this 1. And then certain things can happen. If nobody has a disc, well, nothing happens. These cards stay there. If only one player has a disc there, that player will take whichever one of these cards he wants. I'll tell you what these cards do in just a moment. They'll take this card, and then it will get replaced by a card from out on the board that I'll show you in just a minute. And that gets replaced, and then this disc will get picked up. If there's 2 players' discs there, the one who has the higher number will get first choice, and then this one will get the second choice, and they would both get replaced. Now, when placing discs, you can never make it so it's tied. So, for example, if I had a disc like this here, and that player already had this, he could not play a 3 here because that would make it tie here. So you can never have ties. So when these battles come up, that person the higher one will always win there. And then they'll pull their thing off, and then it will be the next player's turn. Now instead of placing a disc, if you want, you can take a disc back. And then you can move your shaman up to 2 spots, and again, only once uphill is the most he can move. So you're either placing a disc or taking back a disc, and when you do so, you're moving the shaman, or if you place a disc where the boat is, you do not move the shaman, but then you move the boat that number. Those are pretty much all the actions you could take. The only other thing you can do is if all your discs are placed and you don't want to pick one up, you can just simply move the boat 1 spot clockwise. Those are all the actions you can do on your turns, and that's how you get cards. So let's talk about what these cards do. Well, if you get a statue card, you immediately build a statue where your shaman is. He spends his time there, and this gets discarded out, and you have now built a statue. Now, people can move through where statues are, and you can actually move through where your opponent is. You just can't end in the same spot of where your opponent is. So that's sort of building statues. Now sometimes when you're replacing a card, let's say this guy just went here, he got this, he took his thing back, he took whatever card was there. When you replace a card, sometimes it can look like this. This means there's lava. Lava will come out and go right on the section that is here. If a second lava comes out later in that same area from another card, because you would immediately draw, another card, and if another one comes out, you would stack them like this. This lava is bad because at the end of the round, let's say there was a lava here and a second lava here. What happens is at the end of the round, this lava is going to come down the hill. One's going to go here, two's going to go there, a third one would go there, a fourth would do nothing, and any statues there are going to get removed. So you don't want to have statues where the lava is. Now, one of the cards you can get is the Priestess. So what she allows you to do is take this and go move it, any one of them in one direction. So the red guy gets this card, immediately uses it, and moves the lava away from them. Now for the rest of the cards, let's look at this board. This is a board that keeps track of score. It's also a round and timer for the game, and also helps you with scoring. Now, first of all, when cards come out, first of all of these are going to get taken out from here. So the next card that got replaced would be from here, and then you'd start with the second ones here. Now, up here are certain things that you can buy. Anytime you get a seashell for a card, this is worth 1 seashell. When you get a card, at that moment, you can use this to buy any of the cards that have just 1 seashells. I'll tell you what these cards do in a minute. If you decide not to buy something, you can keep it. But you then cannot buy anything until you pick up another seashell card. That's when you can buy. So now I could use this to buy either one of the 1s for 1 or one of these 2s for both of them. Now, let's talk about what some of these cards do in just a moment. You use these to buy scoring cards. But let me go over some of the other cards first. This will also, this gives you fish, which will give you certain points. And this gives you a pearl, which also can give you some more points. So let's talk about how a round ends and how scoring happens, and these cards will make more sense. When this second pile empties out, we start scoring. And the first thing that can happen is at that point as well, if you have any leftover cards, you can buy this. And the person who does it first is the one who triggered the scoring to happen. Next, the volcano erupted. It will do like I showed you before. This statue's gone, and this statue's gone, and these two do nothing, and then these all just get removed out of the board, and then they'll come back next round. Then we'll go down here and score points. For every statue you have on the grass, it's 1, forest it's 2, and mountain it's worth 3 points. Then we'll look at who has more of these types of fish things. Whoever has more than, if someone has more than the other player, this would be 2 of them, you'd get 3 points just for having more of them. Here are pearls. If you have white pearl, it's worth 1 point. If you have a dark pearl, it's worth 2 points. But if you have them together, these two are worth 4 points. So you would get those points for the pearls. And then we look at the scoring card. So this would be, if you had bought this earlier, you'd get 1 point for every butterfly. And you can see some of these cards, these two have 1 butterfly. If I had both of these in that, it'd be worth 1 point. This one is 2 points for every area, mountain, forest, or grassland, that I have more statues than my opponent. This is 4 points for every one solo sort of area that has the mountain, the grass, and the forest that I have a statue on, sort of one hill. This one is 2 points for every statue I have in a forest area, and this is 3 points for every statue, additional 3 points for every statue I have on the mountain area. Now, after that, also one of the cards you can buy from here is the priestess, which does what I showed you before, same as the other priestess card where you move the lava around. Now, after that happens, after this round's over, essentially you go through the 3rd round. Once the 3rd round cards are gone, the game ends when these cards are gone and the boat goes to a space that is empty. It has no cards, and that's the end of the game, and you do another scoring. Now, I also forgot to score you for this. There's 1 card in here that's 3 points for the Nautilus, so you'd score that here too. Now, this comes out in the 2nd round. Now, all these cards here you don't get rid of. These cards, once you have them, you keep them. They'll score in the 2 rounds, the end of the 2nd and the end of the 3rd, which is the only 2 times you actually score in the entire game. So these cards are good for both scorings. These cards, after you buy them and you score them at the end of this round, they go back. And then you have to buy them again and score them again in the end of that 3rd round. At the end of this 3rd round here, when it scores there, whoever has the most points is the winner. Well, there's Haleakala. I like 2-player games, especially ones that are relatively quick like this, 30 to 40 minutes. This game has simple mechanisms, but lots of depth, and I really like that about this game. There's a lot of choices to make. This game is very abstracted. It feels very chess-like, and I can see that if you play this game many, many times, especially with the same player, against the same player, there's going to be a lot of interesting things that happen, and things that you see guys do in earlier plays, and things to try to combat that. Maybe they go to a different route, or maybe you just go around them and do something else. And I liked how there was a lot of strategic depth in this game, but literally all you're doing is placing a disc and moving a guy, maybe, or picking up a disc or moving a guy, or placing a disc and moving a boat. That's it. But with those simple mechanisms, you're looking like, oh, okay, if I move this, I can move the boat here, 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 I can get this, and you're thinking a couple turns in advance, but you're watching what your opponent does, and then you're going, okay, he just put that there, what's he up to? What's he trying to get? He's already at the white pearl, there's a black pearl right there, he needs to go this, I'm gonna move the boat this time, because I know he has no discs to get him there now, I'll push that off to a little later. And then there's that whole push and pull of the lava, with the lava coming out, and the priestess to moving the lava, so you see them setting up the statues, and you're making the lava so it burns theirs down. And That's interesting. The one thing that I did not like about this game was the randomness of how the lava comes out. Because you could be like, oh good, I moved the boat, I got this cool card, and there's lava, and I have a statue on the mountain there. Very random. But I didn't show you this in the review, but there is a variant, a tactical variant on more, it gives you more control as to how and when the lava comes out. I would always recommend playing with this because, you know, the randomization of the lava I did not enjoy, but there is a variant that helps sort of fix that problem. I like how there's still only a few different types of cards, but a lot to think about. Are you going to go after the seashells to buy cards? You got to get those cards to try to get some score points. You've got some. Do you get the cards and then focus on that strategy, or do you play off what the board's giving you and then buy the cards after that? I like how there's different things, like the 2 different pearls you can put together, the nautilus things, you know, the butterflies you're looking for, the fish. Or you could just go for moving the lava around, or you could try to set up different statues on a hill and get that bonus card, or just try to get more than your opponent. There's so many different ways you can go in this game, but it's so simple, but it's got a lot of depth. So if you're looking for a 2-player game that has very crunchy, thinky, abstracty, chess-like feeling in about 30 minutes, that has a lot of good replayability value, then this is one that you'll want to check out. One I enjoyed quite a much, and that is Haleakala.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.